gentlemen, I just want to remind you that we actually have an email list and we would love you to join us. If you want to sign up, go to www.thewizardandthepriestess.com and find your sign up button. Join us today. Welcome to The Wizard and the Priestess. You are with us, your hosts, Nuala and
Matt.
Today we are going to go into why am I still
Overweight.
Yes, a big question, Matt. Why are most people overweight?
I think a lot of people are overweight because we get further and further from foods that we're designed to eat. We don't move in a way we're designed to move. We're very sedentary in our lifestyle. So,
and not only are we sedentary in our lifestyle physically, but we're sedentary in our lifestyle mentally,
emotionally,
it's all
things.
Like within the parameters.
Yeah.
We are like held within parameters. This is the way you will move through life.
Yep.
And you will view the world through this lens.
Mm-hmm.
You will not expand beyond that. You will hold yourself within the systems that we have provided for you that maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
What else did you want to say?
Can't remember, but it was hilarious, no doubt. But essentially, we just, first of all, you could say we overeat, but we overeat because there's no nutrition in our diet anymore.
As in the food that we're eating doesn't have the nutritional value. What about if you're eating like a whole foods diet? Do you think that there's enough nutritional value in that to satiate the body?
Certain foods, yeah.
And what are those certain foods?
Well, I think the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet are from animal sources. That's just been hand down proven. Sorry, vegans. But the oysters, the liver, I can't remember the other one. What's the really nutrient-dense one?
Well, I think of seaweed.
Seaweed, yeah. So
that is not animal.
No, but it's still... We need nutrients from multiple sources. Mm-hmm. We're omnivorous. We're not carnivorous. We're not the other one.
Veginorous.
We're not herbivores.
Herbivores.
We need a bit of both.
Herbivorous.
Now, some people, you have more of an affinity towards
vegetables.
Herbivore. Why can't I think of that word?
Herbivoran.
Yep, that. And I'm not a carnivore, but I'm more towards that.
You like to be.
Compared to you, I would be carnivorous. And then compared to you, I would be the word you said before. Herbivorous.
And then I would be, yes.
Yeah.
Herbivorous.
Herbivorous. Yep.
Okay. So if we were dinosaurs.
Yes.
I'd be a herbivorous.
You'd be Norosaurus.
And what would you be, the T-Rex?
I'd be the ultimate one. So I'd have more nutrition.
So we are omnivorous. Is that the word? We are omnivorous beings that need to...
Plant and veg.
Eat plant and veg. Perfect.
So just being near someone herbivorous brings me down to her level.
Hey, my brain is vibrating on a high frequency. That's something that you're not considering when you're saying that. So
we're designed to eat from both kingdoms, plant and animal. Mm-hmm. Is what I think I was trying to say.
Yes.
Yep.
And whilst that is understood, what we also have is highly produced or highly, what's that word? Processed, not produced. Highly processed foods that lack nutrients but maintain the salt and fat that makes us...
Well, they're chemically designed that way to keep us hungry, so we eat more. So there's, years and years and years ago, I know McDonald's got in trouble. They were burying their research because a lot of people around the world were getting addicted to McDonald's, like the chips.
Oh, yeah.
And they were burying the research on how they manufactured the chips, and they chemically manipulated how they're produced and how they're made and how they're cooked. Then they put a lot of salt with them, so salt makes you hungry.
Yeah.
But if it's deficient salt, then not only will it make you hungry, but it's also going to lower HCl production,
HCl.
hydrochloric acid,
Yeah.
in the stomach. So
and when that happens?
Well, the sensory glands in the stomach then produce ghrelin, which tell the brain that you're hungry. So that'll just keep becoming more and more produced non-stop.
Okay, so the reduction in hydrochloric acid within the stomach actually increases the hormone that tells us that we're hungry in the stomach, ghrelin. Mm-hmm. And so then we're more and more hungry because we've eaten things that we shouldn't have.
Which is kind of physiologically backwards, because when we're hungry, we're supposed to produce hydrochloric acid. But when it's processed food, it actually lowers it.
And that is related to the salt amount and
partially,
the fat?
Partially. It's not just like salt.
No, it's the salt and the fat mixed together.
Yeah. It's not the fat per se, it's like the vegetable oil fat.
Right, processed
that they cook
oils. Right, okay, so essentially we're eating too much of the processed food. So that we are staying hungry and we're never actually feeling the sensation of being full. Mm-hmm. So then we can eat and eat and eat and eat and eat.
Yeah, all day long.
All right. So therefore...
So you can't just have one chip.
No, it's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can literally not stop.
You literally cannot stop.
Because scientifically they have put shit in there to maintain your hunger.
Yeah, and there are people trying to sue these food manufacturers for making them unhealthy.
Are they going well?
It's a very murky water.
I imagine. Yeah. If you're taking on the big business, you're unfortunately fresh out of luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so from your perspective, the reason that most people are overweight comes from the fact that they're overeating food that is nutritionally void in nutrition.
That's a big factor, yeah.
Okay, what's the other factor?
So no nutrition, little to no movement, little to no nutrition, and you could argue just hormones from stress.
Hang on, you just said no nutrition, little to no movement, and no nutrition again. Where there's a difference?
Yeah, either way, there's no nutrition.
Okay. And then the little to no movement. Well, we talked about this last time about the amount of movement we should be having.
Yes.
Took us a little bit of time to get there, but I'm learning slowly, everyone, that I should not say the word should in a question.
No.
Anyway, I will continue to...
You're going to ask me how much movement should I do?
Okay, anyway, I tried that last week. Let's go on. When it comes to the amount of movement we sugar should not be eating. Gosh, I can't even try and put a sentence together without saying that word. I'm going to try really hard. When we consider how much movement we once did to the movement we do today, okay, let's just be real for a second too. Most people are working 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. Most people will then go to exercise after that time. Mm-hmm. Now, what you spoke about last time was about the heart rate aspect, remember? About how in the morning, if you take your basal heart rate, you're going to find how well you, like how capable you are to train that day.
Yeah.
Is that mainly just prenatally, or is that also for all humans?
All humans, all the time, forever.
Forever. Yeah. Okay, so we would probably find that most people on that test probably shouldn't be training.
Yes.
So in that sense, how can we, whilst you must keep working because you must keep making the money, because you must maintain the housing, because actually, literally, realistically, most homes on, like, I think across the board in Australia, at least, it's like $600 a week, the very minimum to have a roof over your head. Like that's probably even on the lower end. Like I would say that the average is a little bit above that. But $600 a week you have to work 20 hours. That's just to cover your rent or your mortgage. So if we're looking at that, therefore, someone must work that amount. Then they've got to eat food.
So if they can't get movement in, is what I'm hearing you say. Is that right?
No.
Not necessarily no movement.
It's more that if they are actually physically, like, their body is actually under a heightened amount of stress.
Yeah.
What should they do to meet those movement, like, quotas? I mean, you haven't even told me what quotas are. What we could be doing. Can I say could? What we might like to do.
What would help?
What would help a body. We don't know what that is yet. So maybe let's start there. What might one do to maintain a body whilst working and
the stresses of
day-to-day life?
Yeah. Well, you've got to find where, I guess, you're most. First, you have to identify your biggest stress, whatever that is.
Okay.
For most people, let's say it's financial. Then you've got to be conscious enough of how that's physically affecting you.
Okay.
Arguably mentally and emotionally and all that kind of stuff. But you need to know how it's affecting you. And you need to adjust your movement intensity to the degree that you are stressed about the money.
Yes.
So that movement can be anywhere from a light walk, yoga session.
For how many minutes? What's a light walk? Because I could lightly walk for 10 kilometres. That wouldn't be a light walk, would it?
It could be. Depends on how fast you go. Depends on how hot it is. So you got to think about with the stress thing, all the stresses add up.
Yeah.
So you put poor nutrition into that. You put dehydration into that. You put
lack of
sleep, movement. You're worried about
terrible relationships.
Yep, all that. So all of that stuff, for me, that's probably the biggest weight gain. That causes the biggest weight gain. That elevates stress, elevates cortisol. Your body, as cortisol's elevated, then insulin and all the digestive hormones, digestive functions, they stop.
Yeah.
So you just retain fluid.
Oh, yeah, you're big on the fluid thing.
So
dehydrated, but you got a lot of fluid.
So it's not necessarily fat that
makes people look bigger.
Yeah, it's just they're holding fluid. And the first, like, you remember The Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
Their first, was it weigh-in? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the weigh-in.
Yeah. Their first one where they drop 10 kilos a week, that's all fluid. So your body's just holding onto it because your body's also, with the stress response, so inflamed, it needs to hold the water because water puts out fire. But physiologically speaking, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And you get more and more food come in, i.e. energy. So the insulin has to put the extra into subcutaneous fat cells. And depending where on the body, that's where you get the appearance of cellulite. But it will just store in the tissue because it's got so much energy coming into the system. You've got so much energy coming in. If you've got too much coming in, it's going to blow the fuse. So you retaining fluid is your body, your nervous system keeping you alive. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Like it. Unfortunately, though, for many people,
yes,
it's happening too much. Like,
all day, every day, yeah.
So what are we thinking then? Like, essentially, the reason you're overweight is because you're stressed. But then I could speak to people and I'm like, okay, let's go through all the things. How are you sleeping? How are you eating? How are you pooing? How are you doing all these things? They're like, I feel actually pretty good. And one thing, they're like, I feel really good. I'm actually feeling really happy. But I'm training 4 times a week and I'm losing no weight. So what do you think these people should eat to lose weight, Matt?
That's a low blow. Nutrients, Nuala.
Okay.
Nutrient-dense food. Don't worry about diets. Don't worry about calories. It's about nutrients, not calorie counting.
Yes.
We've done a.
So we just take heaps of supplements?
No.
Well, they're full of nutrients.
Okay. Supplements can be helpful if something is missing. But remember, the supplement is only good as the The supplement quality is only as good as the soil that the plant is grown in to make said supplement.
Yes.
Most supplements are synthetic.
Therefore, no good.
It's a synthetic substance, so the body doesn't really know what to do with it.
Well, if only we were chemicivores.
Oh. Actually, that's not bad. That's not
Dun,
bad.
dun, dun.
Well, I think we are. That's the problem. We are chemicivores.
Chemicivores.
Chemicivores. That's the issue.
Well, we're not actually,
Well,
because we're
turning into chemicivores.
Chemicivores,
Yeah.
mate. It's easy, simple, rolls off the tongue. Anyway, so we want to be maintaining our nutrients, nutrient-dense foods, and that is the... So how do we switch from eating... so that's it, the craving. Like, we talked about this. Like, I just want my cake at the end of the night, or I just want my chips, or just a little pack of chips, or like I just feel like a little bit of chocolate. Now, I would say that...
Yeah, what's the TCM?
Well, it's not necessarily TCM, but what I would say is that...
So this is a nullism.
A nullism, like most things. When we feel like... When we have those cravings, what I tend to recommend is don't ever starve yourself of the craving. You need to initially allow yourself to have something. So let's just alternate something. Let's put something in its place. So usually the reason it's there in the first place is because we're feeling low, or at least that's what I find.
Yeah.
So why are you reaching for the non-nutritional food?
Yeah.
It could be because you're easily influenced by what's going on around you. So you could be easily influenced by the marketing that's on the TV. So an easy way to move away from that influence is to not watch the TV. That's probably happened more and more in recent times because we have streaming. And so people are generally not watching the advertisements in that way. Like we used to, you know, like I would watch the TV in the afternoon or the evening as a teenager, and there would be advertisements constantly thrown at you.
Yeah.
Whereas now the advertising has had to become really tricky and or sneaky in the sense, they get you in ways.
Tricksters and spellcasters.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you're being influenced in other ways. But either way, if you are being influenced by people or by advertisements, then try and stay away from that. Then if you are moving one step further, then now it's okay, I still have that craving. I still want to have that sweet after dinner. So the first thing I would be doing is having a tea to help calm down the system.
What kind of tea?
Well, you could just start with something like lemon water, lemon water.
Right.
If you wanted to be take it a little bit further, you could add some ginger to it. You just want to do something, especially if it's after dinner, you want to do something that's helping the digestive system. Ginger is really good. Fresh ginger is really good for that for most people. Starting it off with maybe a centimetre cut up or grated ginger, and putting that into your tea, and then adding your lemon, and then using that as it's going to somewhat help digestion, but it's also going to help, whilst it helps digestion, it takes us out of that, brings us back down into that parasympathetic to really support your system to digest. And then afterwards, if you might find that you're not feeling that craving, that might have been enough. But if you're still craving, then you'd opt for something like nuts and dark choc. And I find that if you add in, I find when you add a little bit of protein, and that's something that I find you know this, we don't necessarily eat enough protein. Maybe if you're really regimented, you get it, but...
Well, protein and fat, they activate the satiety centers and stimulate the secretion of those hormones that tell you that you're full.
Right.
Yep.
So hence why something like nuts could be, high fat and protein in one little tiny package. But then obviously the calories in that sense are going to be really quite high. So that's why we don't really focus on that, or I've never really focused on that, and you suggested we don't either. But just swapping out that packet of chips for something like that, Or what I sometimes like to do is roast almonds, and then I will.
Do you activate then roast?
No, I don't. Should.
Straight in there.
Should.
Just whack it straight in.
Straight in.
I think you can activate through roasting as well.
Yeah, you'd have to do it really slowly.
Yeah.
A very slow process.
Yeah.
But I would activate, and then I would recommend activating first.
Yeah.
I tend to just put them in, roast them, and then put a little bit of Celtic salt over them.
Yeah.
And sometimes, whilst they're still warm, fresh out of the oven, I'll then put a square of dark choc on top, let it melt. If I'm feeling fancy.
That's a lot of effort.
No, it's not that much. It takes only a couple of minutes to roast some almonds. If you've got them activated overnight, but you meant to gently, like if you're activating them and then roasting them, you've got to. It's all slow. You can't throw them in the oven the way I'm doing in 3 minutes. Once you smell, note, once you smell the almond, get them out because they're going to be ready.
Is that the
trick? Otherwise, you'll burn them.
I've learned something.
So anyway, that's what I would say. To swap out your craving. So if you're craving something that's like not nutritionally void, swap it out.
And if you do go for the craving, let yourself off the hook.
Oh yeah, that's a big one too. It's not
bash yourself up.
And because that's what brings in that mental emotional aspect of weight and maintaining.
Yeah, because then you go in that downward spiral, and then the saboteur's got you. And that's just the...
Catch yourself before you get in the spiral. So I guess that comes to, what should you think to lose weight?
I think you need to get into the mindset. Let's say you wanted to lose 20 kilos. There'd be nothing of you, but let's just say, hypothetically, you did.
Just decided one day.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not me. What about someone else that wants to?
Pick someone.
Anyone. Holly, I'm looking at you.
Holly? Okay. So Holly wants to lose. We're going to get someone called Holly just hating us now.
I'm going to find her.
Okay, good. Holly wants to lose 20 kilos. I would recommend, and it takes it's a bit habitual to get into this momentum, but thinking as if you were 20 kilos lighter already. So what would the 20 kilos lighter Holly look at that bit of cake or chocolate or ice cream or whatever it is? Is she thinking that? Or has she set herself up nutritionally for the day so she actually doesn't have the cravings? Is she satiated enough? And often when we get food cravings, it's not, it is interpreted by the body as a physical kind of starve. Starve's a strong word, but you know what I mean.
You've been starved.
Yeah.
Hence why now I'm craving this thing.
Yeah. So, but I think I've brought this up before. You've got the 4 bodies. You've got the physical body that feeds on food, the emotional body that feeds on energy and emotions, the mental body feeds on thought, and the spiritual body feeds on truth, as in, are you living your truth? So where are you not nourished in those bodies?
Yeah.
Because that is often interpreted by the body as physical hunger.
Yeah, okay. So when we think of like, what should you think? And you're thinking about, okay, so I've got to think of myself as that person that is 20 kilos lighter, and how would they perceive this moment? Yeah, okay. And I would, it's pretty interesting that you talk about those 4 bodies, because I think that when it comes to satiation and having that craving, you also get into a habit of that craving as well. So it's being conscious of that, like the habit that you've created. Personally, I get into a bit of a habit in the summertime of having something sweet later in the night. And it's probably because I haven't set myself up to eat the meals that I need to through the day, because it's warmer, I'm eating less, I eat at different times.
Because it's warmer, your body doesn't need the heavy foods either.
Yeah, it doesn't need the heavy foods, but if I'm still craving, then I set myself up in the night where I'm like, I probably haven't eaten potentially enough through the day, and probably my main meal hasn't been full enough because I've just enjoyed the salad. It felt nicer to have a fresher salad than to have, for me, like roasted vegetables or meat or something like that. I've had more something lighter. And then I'm used to having that sweet in the evening. So then I'll find myself wanting to have that ice cream every night. and then I create a habit in that. So then I'm constantly wanting that sweet, and it feels, and then I notice in myself, I have to catch myself because I'll be constantly opting for if there's something not so good in my house, then we will eat that until it's gone. Whereas if it's not there, then I will go for the yogurt and fruit with nuts. I will opt for something like it's a pretty staple thing in our home that we've got available. So it's like I will opt for that thing. But yeah, it is. This is that thing I always say. You know what you need to do. It's just what do you need to do that, like, how can we help someone or support someone who's listening today? How can we support them to actually make that change in their mind? Because that feels like where it starts. It starts in your mind.
It starts with a thought. Yeah. I would just say, first of all, what's your willingness?
Oh, yeah. So if I'm doing, okay, so what's my willingness, right?
What is it out of 10?
What is my willingness out of 10?
Holly's willingness out of 10? If it's not at least a 7, then...
So this is, what is her willingness out of 10 to lose the 20 kilos?
Yep.
And we need a 7 or above.
Yep.
Because
that's driving her entire new embodiment program, we'll call it.
Okay. All right. So she's at a 7. Okay. She's like, no, she's an 8. She's like, I am ready to be in my fit girl age, fit girl era. I'm ready for this. I'm wanting that. I see her. Yeah.
Yep.
Now what?
Then I would, no doubt Holly has tried diets before, most probably.
Likely.
So I would say, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anything with the word diet on it. Throw away any diet book, including counting calories. We need to determine what her, metabolic type is.
Okay.
And that will help us determine what her plate ratio from protein, carbohydrate, fat should look like.
Okay. And what are the different metabolic, how would
you can be a protein type, so you'd eat probably 70% of your plate would be some kind of protein fat, and then 30% veg.
Okay.
A mixed type would be 50-50, and a carb type would be, say, 70% carb, 30% protein fat.
Okay, and what am I?
I reckon you would live like a carb type, but I think you're a mixed type or a protein type in denial.
Why?
Because we come from Scandinavian heritage.
No, I come from I come from Scottish.
It's the same.
It's not.
Latitude.
It's definitely not. It's much lower by about that many degrees. What European? Are you talking European or are you talking Scandinavian? Because
I'm talking Northern European then, because anywhere from probably from halfway Germany up, the ground freezes in the winter. So how would your ancestors have grown
potatoes? Oh, that's not Scotland, is it? It's Ireland. I have Irish blood too, so yeah, potatoes.
That explains a lot.
I was just eating spuds.
Is that your accent?
No.
It's woeful.
I'll work on it.
You're good.
But okay, so I'm Irish, like spuds.
Okay.
What's wrong with carbs?
Nothing. It's great. I don't work well with too many carbs.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me.
So you're a protein type.
Yeah. But this time of year where it's heating up, I'm more of a mixed. But one day I could be all protein, next day I could be all more like a vegetarian.
Herbivore.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? How do you just identify that?
There's a book, The Metabolic Typing Diet.
Okay.
That's got
It sounds like a diet.
Touche. But it's a very individualised diet. So it's not like the Atkins diet or the Critican or the...
different sorts.
Yeah, that say, do this, eat that.
Yeah.
It's like, if you eat too much protein, do you feel...
a certain way.
And then too many carb, do you crave this? So it's more of a it's
questioning how you feel about what you're eating.
And you can come up with your own
way to determine.
Yeah.
Interpret it. Okay. So let's say that.
Do you know what? I just thought of something.
What?
If we're working with Holly,
Yeah.
the first thing I'd want her to do would be a fungal parasite cleanse.
Oh, okay. Okay, so number 1 is the fungal parasite cleanse.
Yeah. While she's doing that, we'd work on her metabolic typing. Not that I'd get everyone to do the cleanse.
But just Holly, because she's 20 kilos overweight.
Well, it's a clean out of the system. It's a reset.
Holly should not be breastfeeding or pregnant.
Ideally not. Oh. Don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Not on a
no.
fungal thing?
No.
Yeah?
You want to do these things long before those times.
I'll give you that.
Okay, so then how do you actually do the metabolic typing?
How do I do it?
Read the book.
Read the book, or just get I'm sure you can get the questionnaire.
Oh, you can do the questionnaire. Is that how you would do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've got the book, so I just give them the questionnaire from that.
Okay.
But I'm fairly confident you can get it online.
Okay, so now we've done the metabolic typing. We've found out that we are a mixed type.
Yep.
How long's the cleanse?
Well, for it to be a lasting cleanse, 3 to 6 months.
Oh, what?
Yep. They're clever. You got to starve them out a lot of the time.
Okay. Holly, you've got some time, so
But in that time, she's
3 to 6 months.
If she sticks to it, she'll lose heaps of weight just doing that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially a protein typing, isn't it? Protein diet. The cleanse.
Well, the fungal will be, but then if it's a parasite, then they're attracted to the protein. So it depends. You usually just cut out sugar. Like absolutely zero sugar, including fruit.
No fruit.
You can have, the only fruit you can have would be skinless green apples and fresh berries. Otherwise, it's no. And above, hang on, what is it? It's all meat plus above ground vegetables, with the exception of raw carrot. No fruit or sugar, even organic, with the exception of fresh berries and skinless green apples.
Just boring. I don't think anyone would do that.
I don't know what whispering.
For 3 to 6 months?
I did it for 6 months.
Yeah, but you're you.
Thank you. That's the best compliment you've ever given me.
Skinless green apples. Gosh. Okay. I don't know.
It's not the funnest way to eat. We're talking about weight loss, and that's just a really good way to reset the system.
All right. Okay. Yep. So now they've done 3 to 6 months. Holly's already in her fit girl era because she's just literally eaten like a herbivore. No, like a, what did we call it? She's just not moved out of the chemicivore.
Mm.
Okay.
So all that's got to be detox.
Yeah, right. Okay, and then what's next?
So where are we up to?
Well, we're 3 to 6 months in.
3 to 6 months in. So in this time, we can work with potential, if there's a mental emotional roadblock, because a lot of people will sabotage their own success in the weight loss journey. We also need to look at an exercise program in which we need to find where Holly is at physically. So we need to assess her physiological load, her stress levels. We need to look at her posture. We need to realign Holly. And as we realign Holly, we're also explaining that, because there's going to be a complaint or two, RE diet and how I've just potentially taken all the fun things away from her life. So we need to just keep that 7 out of 10. We need to keep that dream strong enough
alive
in her so she can, because some days it's not fun, because some days you want the ice cream. But then I would also work on, as we work on Holly's posture, her diet, etc., her relationship to herself, but also her food, having a relationship with that food. And if she does go for the cake or the ice cream, then and she's done all the checklists like you were talking about before. Have a tea, have some water first, because you might actually be thirsty instead of the craving. And she still goes for the cake, then enjoy the cake.
Yeah.
Don't bash yourself up about it. Then if you want, give yourself a little goal that the next time you train, you're just going to maybe push for an extra set of an exercise or increase intensity just a little bit. And that can counter the cake or whatever was happening.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know what step that was.
3.
3. Yeah. So that was kind of 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Really. And hydration's huge.
Yeah, okay. How much water should Holly drink?
Her body weight in kilos at present times 0.033. That's how many litres per day.
Okay.
So, in example...
I'm 54.
So, you're 54. So, 54 times 0.033 equals 1.7. I'd say 2. I'd round it up.
No, I'm going 1.782, not a mil more.
So, for my body weight, I'm about 2.7. No, is that right? What am I? I float. I'm about 80 times. Yes, I'm 2.6.
Okay.
But I try and go for 3.
Why are you drinking more?
Because I'm hardcore.
Okay.
No, because if I do a workout for a day, then I'm sweating, so that I need to do that. If I have a coffee, then that's another bit.
Oh, yeah.
So all these little things.
Swap to the blinky coffee, bro.
And as Paul Chek said, the solution to pollution is dilution.
Mm-hmm.
So someone who's overweight is typically holding on to a lot of pollution.
Yep.
In their body.
Yeah, okay. Wow, it doesn't feel easy.
It depends how much it's in you. Like, it depends what your drive is.
But if you've got 20 kilos, a little, like even 10 kilos extra, like, it feels hard.
It is. Well, it's 10 kilos, 20 kilos extra hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you got gravity and just the metabolic cost of holding that extra weight, but also being that toxic and AKA fatigued all the time. Plus you've got likely malaligned posture. So the metabolic cost of just being in that field of gravity all day.
Yeah. So did you talk about how much exercise?
Yeah, I was getting to that from minute 5. So exercise can be really, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to CrossFit yourself to death. It can be as simple as you can do what's called a no workout, which is just parking your car as far away from the shop as you can, or just walk as much as possible. Take the stairs and not the elevator. Little things like that.
Because this is where I think I was going earlier with regards to our sedentary lifestyle and like the norm being that, you know, we work really hard when actually realistically no one is probably energetically or no one with a family is energetically in a position to really train.
Yeah, because that 20 kilo can be so overwhelming that it's
easier to just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's a really common situation. Well, I just actually can't be bothered to change my diet.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy eating the food I eat. I quite enjoy the lifestyle. I'm happy. I just want to be my fit girl era.
Sure.
May as well just get Ozempic and be fine.
Sure. What could go wrong?
Well, what could go wrong, Matt?
Lots. Because that injection, I can't remember the science of it, but it affects the pancreas. Because it's more of a diabetic thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So...
Well, it's going to help to... I think it's reducing your hunger. So what do we work that out? It's going to slow down that appetite and slow down that ghrelin production, which is potentially doing the opposite of what McDonald's chips did.
Yeah.
Which
it's gone too far the other way.
Yes.
So while that's slowing down appetite, you can see how from a logical left brain it can work. Like the whole calorie counting thing. From a logical left brain it works. Our body works on a different logic though. So the body has to always maintain that homeostasis, as you were talking about last week. And that requires a certain symphony of hormones and bodily functions for it to maintain that homeostatic position. And it's always dynamic, right? As it's dynamic, we have to listen to where it's at and have a relationship with our own body so we can give it what it needs at the time. And it's not often a bit of chocolate or a lolly that we're craving, but it's something our body just says, look, quick, just get something. We associate sweet things with nutrition. So you think what's...
As it from a primal...
What's like a primal... It's a primal... I'm forgetting the word. But it's... And you think about what's sweet in nature. Fruit.
Yeah.
It's got nutrition.
Yeah.
Honey.
Yeah.
That's highly nutritious. So we associate sweet things with nutrition.
And it's high calorie, high kilojoules, so it's going to quickly...
Instant energy.
Instantly fill the brain with power.
Fill the brain with power.
And keep all of the things alive.
Keep the cylinders firing.
We're going to keep going because we're good there.
Yeah, but the problem with that is it'll keep us going the same way kindling would keep a fire going.
Yes, quickly, but then die quickly.
So we need to keep topping it up, and that's where we get into trouble.
Mm.
But then that has its roller coaster ride, hormonally speaking.
Yes, because every spike will then hit a spike in our hormones, and they all interplay. So it's all that So that's where I guess we're kind of coming to in terms of how do we actually coming back around, how do we keep Holly on the path? And so I guess that's where, say, where you could essentially coach someone, but then let's really consider how often would they need to see you?
Well, I don't really want them to see me for that. I want them to do it on their own.
Yeah, but they don't have the motivation. They've got the 7 out of 10 motivation at the start.
So that's why we talk about at the start, are you willing to participate in your own journey? So you can see me X amount of times, that's fine. But I need you to do this sort of thing on your own because my ultimate goal with Holly is for her to not need me ever again. So I want to give her the tools to be able to do it.
Okay, but how long is it going to take you to give her the tools?
If she's a good student, not long. Maybe 3 months.
3 months of how often does she need to see you?
Twice a week.
Twice a week for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You can give her the tools she needs.
Easy, yeah. What about you? She came to see you.
Oh, you see me weekly for life, doll. No, it really depends. Like always, it always depends on what's the main goal. And to be honest, someone like Holly wouldn't necessarily be coming to me for weight loss. That's probably, they come to me for something else, and then I would send them to you for the weight loss aspect. Right. Because the thing that you can give them is the practical information on, how to move their body, how to structurally move your body in a way that's posturally correct, that helps them ascertain the goals that they're after in that perspective.
Yeah.
I'm more moving them even more slightly and slowly to give them the motivation to maintain that.
So I've had weight loss patients that we haven't even exercised for the first 3 months.
And they've lost weight.
It's just been about the diet. It's been about the mindset, getting the inflammation out of their body. So they've got the energy to exercise.
Right, because the energy is in return reducing their stress level so that their heart rate is
now they've got more capacity for exercise.
To actually exercise.
And then they can do it safely. Because then if I put someone through a rigorous workout, then sure, they're going to burn the calories, they're going to get the sweat, etc. Yeah. But then what impact is that having on the rest of their day?
Yeah.
I'm depleting something else. I'm taking something else away from the day, and then that's just going to go backwards ultimately.
Yeah.
And that's going to likely create more stress. So then we're actually going backwards in our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the idea of, okay, what they would need to do in order, do the fungal cleanse, find their metabolic typing, do steps 3 to 5,
Yeah.
then add in exercise.
Yeah. You want to get to a point
then
where you can exercise enough to sweat, and it should feel good. You should feel like you've just therapeutically done something at the end of the workout, not crawling down the stairs or out and passing out.
Yeah, it's gosh, who does that though?
Oh, heaps of people. Not Holly. That's who doesn't do it. She knows better. She's a smart girl.
I also don't do that.
No, I know.
But I'm just conscious of the level of capacity that I have, and why would I push?
You've got a relationship with your body, so you know where you're at. You might not necessarily need to do the heart rate thing, but with your energy, if your energy's on a certain day, if it's like a 4 out of 10, you're not working out.
Yeah, if I've had to do 2 blinky coffees in the morning.
So if it's like a 5 or a 6, you could get away with a little bit more. But then if it's a 7 or an 8, then you can really push it. But if it's a constant low, I would also want Holly to maybe get tested for like allergy testing, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. There could be something in her house that, for example, a new carpet, I think emits 30,000 chemicals in the first year.
Gross.
A car's like 60,000. Just all these environmental toxins that build up in our system.
Totally.
That also overload the detox system. That detox system needs to be working really well for weight loss. Essentially, you've got to convince the body it's healthy enough to drop the weight because it's in survival mode.
Yeah, right. Because the reason it's actually holding on to the weight. Because, it is, right? Because emotionally, there'd be aspects of, like, you filling voids.
Mm.
Wow. All right, so...
That's right, Holly, we've got you sorted.
As long as you're at an 8 out of 10...
Yeah, you'd be fine.
In determination...
Absolutely fine.
Willing to commit to 3 to 6 months of parasite cleanse and then figure out how best to eat for you, and then to exercise to a point where you sweat, but doing that with the capacity to actually do that.
Yes.
Then how long do you think it would take to lose 20 kilos?
Depends on their genetics.
Yeah.
Largely 20 kilos.
Because who wants to be the biggest loser? I meant to say the biggest loser. They're 3 months. They drop all that weight.
Yeah, they typically the quicker you lose it,
the quicker you put it back on.
Likely, yeah, because that hormonal swing has to go both ways.
Yeah, gosh, that must be
so people can starve
sick.
themselves, but then second they eat, they just hold it.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd want it to be just a nice. If
Over
it's 20 kilo, I'm thinking probably a year, but you could do it in 6 months if you were really
committed and dedicated, determined.
It. And it was like you were not possessed, but possessed.
Well, it sort of doesn't feel so good though either, because you want to maintain it. You
don't
ever want to lose that weight.
No, exactly.
And not maintain it.
Yeah. So that comes with a mindset thing. So it's like there's a battle and a war. The battle is at the gym. The battle is in the fridge. The battle is
in relationship.
The battle is everything that you do outside. The war is I'm a new person. I'm doing this for me. I'm embodying who I want to be and what I want to look like. That's the war between the ears.
Wow, that's a really cool analogy, Matt. Why
did that sound sarcastic?
It wasn't. I was just trying to soak in the battle versus the war. And then I guess, where's the peace?
Well, the peace. First of all, it's not a literal war. Just so we're clear. So the peace is knowing that you're following something that is for you. You've given yourself permission to do that for yourself. And you're saying, well, this is an act of self-love. So the peace is in the alignment that you feel with following your dream.
Yeah. Well, there we have it.
Holly,
you're sorted.
You're gonna kill it.
Best of luck to everyone. And now you know.
You've been listening to The Wizard and the Priestess. Thanks for stopping by. Stay connected and be open.